In this video, I'm going to be ranking the Eagles' top play from every single one of their games in the 2022-23 NFL season. We all know the Eagles season was one of the best in their franchise's history, and it produced plenty of highlights. So today we're going to be ranking the top plays from every single game. I'm going to be making these rankings based on three main categories. Number one, highlight reel factor, just how cool the play was and how awesome it was to watch. Number two, the importance of the play during the point in the game and how crucial it was on the outcome of the game. And number three, the importance of that play to the individual player themselves. So to kick off the ranking at number 17, we look back into the Eagles' final game of the season versus the New York Giants. This was obviously a very crucial game for the Eagles. It was to clinch the NFC East title and the number one seed in the NFC, but there weren't that many splash highlight plays throughout the course of this game. A.J. Brown did have a good game and he broke the Eagles' all-time receiving yards record, but ultimately the play I decided to go with comes from a man who has a history of destroying the Giants during his career.
Play of the drive, Eagles are threatening here. Boston Scott in, the blast, Scott won't go down, touchdown, Philadelphia!
This touchdown run by Boston Scott was the 10th touchdown of his career versus the New York Giants, more than any other team combined, and it was the only touchdown that the Eagles scored all day during the course of the game, and obviously it helped propel the Eagles to the eventual win where they were crowned NFC East division champs and the number one seed in the NFC. This seemed like a pretty routine touchdown run for Boston Scott, just like the play CJ Gardner-Johnson made in Week 10 seemed pretty routine for him at the time. See, the Eagles were losing by 2 in the fourth quarter of their game versus the Washington Commanders, and they were in danger of taking their first loss of the season after starting 8-0. But league leader in interceptions, CJ Gardner-Johnson, had something to say about that.
This one deep shot, it's McLaurin, and it's an interception by CJ Gardner-Johnson.
CJ Gardner-Johnson came up with his 6th pick of the NFL season, which still ties him for the lead and gave the Philadelphia Eagles a chance to win that game, although they did end up losing, and that's why it is this low on the list. Now for number 15, we have kind of a difficult decision. In a Week 14 contest versus the New York Giants, the Philadelphia Eagles absolutely destroyed their NFC East division opponent, winning by a final score of 48-22, and they put up many highlights throughout the course of this game, and there were many that you could choose from to be the top play from this contest. But still, none of the plays anybody else made in the game were better than the play made by Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith in the second quarter.
On 4th and 7, Hurts lofts it for Smith. It's a touchdown!
That was a great play, and Nick Sirianni went crazy. But speaking of crazy, that brings us to number 14, where the Eagles were playing crazy good football heading into their Week 9 matchup versus the Houston Texans. They were setting at an NFL best record of 7-0, and they were on the verge. They were just one win away from having their best start in franchise history at 8-0. The Eagles came out of the gate slow in their game versus the Texans, but they eventually found their footing in the second half, and this touchdown cemented the Eagles' eventual victory over the Texans.
Hurts throwing, open, who else? Goedert, touchdown.
This play may not have been spectacular in fashion, but the impact it had on the game at that point, putting it pretty much out of reach for the Texans, makes it where it is on this list. Now for number 13, we have a play that I had the pleasure of watching in person. The Philadelphia Eagles were taking on the New Orleans Saints in Week 17 with a chance to clinch the NFC East division title and the number one seed. But the Eagles struggled coming out of this game, and with Gardner Minshew at quarterback, the Eagles failed to put up many points on the offensive side of the ball, and they were still behind when the second half rolled around. But this explosive play to A.J. Brown in the third quarter completely flipped the momentum and gave the Eagles a chance to win this game.
Minshew has one-on-one for A.J. Brown. He's got A.J. Brown into the open field. Foot on the gas to the end zone. Touchdown Eagles. 76 yards.
This play would probably be higher up on the list had the Eagles taken advantage and gone on to win this game, but unfortunately they did end up losing and taking their worst loss of the season to the Saints, so that's why this play is where it is. However, this was a really spectacular play from A.J. Brown, and for number 12 we have an almost identical play. It was Week 15 and the Philadelphia Eagles were taking on the Chicago Bears in a freezing cold Chicago, and the Eagles had not played their best football up to this point in the fourth quarter. The Eagles needed one drive to go ahead and put this game out of reach for the Chicago Bears, and Jalen Hurts at this point in the game was already injured with that shoulder injury that would eventually keep him out for the next 2 weeks, but he delivered on this third down play to A.J. Brown.
Pressure coming. Hurts wants it all with Brown. A.J. Brown beating Johnson, staying in, taking it inside the 10.
A.J. Brown almost took that one to the end zone too, but even though he didn't, that still had a far greater impact on the outcome of this game and the Eagles getting the eventual win, which is why it sits ahead of the previous play on this list. But for number 11, we switched to the other side of the ball. It was week 12 and the Eagles were in a Sunday night showdown with the Green Bay Packers, where one of their best defensive players in CJ Gardner-Johnson and one of their big playmakers on that defense that consistently was able to take the football away from the opposing offense went down with an injury, and it forced a rookie safety who not many people have heard of named Reed Blankenship to come in and fill in for Gardner-Johnson, and Reed Blankenship did not let his opportunity go to waste.
Rodgers gonna go to the middle of the field. Look out, it's intercepted. Read by Blankenship. You've sunk my Blankenship. Interception for the rookie.
This was an incredible play, and I don't think one many people saw coming. Picking off Aaron Rodgers for your first interception of your entire NFL career, that is something to be proud of. This play was surely something that put a smile on every Eagles fan's face, just like the play that sits at number 10 on this list. It was week 16 and the Eagles were in a matchup with the hated Dallas Cowboys with a chance to clinch the NFC East division title and the number 1 seed in the NFC, but the Eagles were going to have to do it without their starting quarterback in Jalen Hurts, who had just sustained a shoulder injury in their previous game. So Gardner Minshew was going to need some help from the defense if the Eagles were going to get this win, and with the Eagles having a 3-0 lead in the first quarter, the Eagles defense was able to come up with a huge play to completely swing the momentum in the Eagles' favor.
This passing game gets even better.
On the fake, Prescott low. Roll out and it's intercepted by Sweat. Josh Sweat breaks a tackle. Sweat is gonna score.
A pick 6 from a defensive end, that's almost unheard of. But you know what else is unheard of? You not subscribing to the channel if you're an Eagles fan. If you want consistent Philadelphia Eagles content, this is the place for that. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of that coming up in the future. But for real, something else unheard of happened at number 9 on this list. It was week 5 and the Philadelphia Eagles were entering a game versus the Arizona Cardinals, and this was a tough game for the Eagles. They did not play their best football, and it came down to the wire. The Eagles were tied 17-17 with just under 2 minutes left. In came a rookie kicker in his first game in the NFL ever with a chance to give the Eagles the lead.
Sippis will spot it at the 13-yard line. So it's a 23-yard attempt.
And spotlights on Dicker.
Spotted, kicked, up, and it is good! It's good! And with 1:45 remaining, the Eagles have the lead, 20-17.
Dicker the kicker came in and hit what would eventually be the game-winning field goal for the Philadelphia Eagles to push them to 5-0 for the first time since 2001. But now for number 8, we head all the way back to where this season all started, in week 1 versus the Detroit Lions. The Eagles had made plenty of great offseason acquisitions, multiple of which were making their impact felt in this first game versus the Lions, and one of their big defensive acquisitions made a play that left a great first impression for Philadelphia Eagles fans.
Under pressure, Goff hit as he throws. It was deflected by Kaiser White, and James Bradberry has his first Philadelphia pick, and it's a pick 6.
James Bradberry really came out here and decided his first career pick 6 would be in his first game as a Philadelphia Eagle. What a great start for him and what a great season he's having. But speaking of Eagles offseason acquisitions, that brings us to number 7, where it was week 4 and the Eagles were taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars and they had the lead in the fourth quarter. The Eagles defense had come up big for them already in this game and Haason Reddick was the main playmaker for them that day, and with the Jaguars gearing up for a potential game-winning drive, Haason Reddick had something to say about that.
So Trevor Lawrence and company begin just outside the 20. Football is loose again. And the Eagles have recovered. Haason Reddick doing it again for the Eagles.
What a great play by Haason Reddick to end the Jacksonville Jaguars' hopes of winning the game and give the Philadelphia Eagles a 4-0 start, and was Reddick's best performance as an Eagle to that point so far, and it propelled him to having a terrific season for the Eagles where he finished 2nd in sacks. But you know what's better than sacks? Interceptions. And the Philadelphia Eagles have the league leader in that category as well in CJ Gardner-Johnson, where the Philadelphia Eagles were playing the Dallas Cowboys in week 6 to give themselves a 6-0 record, and they had a 9-point lead in the fourth quarter and they just needed one big defensive stop to end it, and CJ Gardner-Johnson decided he was going to supply that for the Philadelphia Eagles.
2nd and 8, rush, downfield, CeeDee Lamb open, it's underthrown, and it's scooped and intercepted. CJ Gardner-Johnson hurt his hand earlier in this half. He's okay.
This was Gardner-Johnson's second interception of the day, and it came after he had gone out of the game earlier with a hand injury. But he just kept fighting, he came back in the game, and he made the game-sealing play for the Philadelphia Eagles. What a great season it was for CJ Gardner-Johnson, and what a great play he made here versus the Dallas Cowboys. But there are great plays and there are spectacular plays, and that is exactly what Devonta Smith made here in Week 3. It was the end of the first half for the Philadelphia Eagles, and they were driving down the field to score on the Commanders one more time before the time expired on them. And Jalen Hurts decided it would be best to go to his old Alabama teammate in Devonta Smith to make something happen here at the end of the first half.
It's Hurts. It's a deep ball. Looking for Devonta Smith. What a catch! Inside the 5.
That was an absolute bomb from Jalen Hurts, but more importantly, that was an absolutely incredible catch by Devonta Smith. And then eventually he would cap it off with a touchdown where he mossed another defender. Just an incredible play from Devonta Smith, and that's why it sits here at number 5 on this list. And now sitting here at number 4, we have a play from a game that wasn't exactly so much fun to watch for Eagles fans for the majority of it. The Eagles were facing the Indianapolis Colts in Week 11, coming off their first loss of the season to the Commanders, and they needed a bounce back bad, but the Eagles did not play a good game at all for the first 3 quarters of this game, and it took a late Jalen Hurts effort to even make sure the Eagles had a chance to win this game. Hurts needed to go on a final game-winning drive to give the Eagles the win and bounce back from their first loss of the season, and that is exactly what he did, and he capped it off with this eventual play.
Hurts will run, takes it in, touchdown! Nothing in front of him except the end zone.
This was huge for the Eagles as it was eventually the game-winning touchdown, and it made sure the Eagles did not suffer a 2-game losing streak, and it ensured the Eagles bounced back from their previous loss versus the Commanders. But now we kick off the top 3, and coming in at number 3, we have a Week 13 matchup between the Eagles and the Tennessee Titans. And this game was personal for one Eagle in particular, that being A.J. Brown. He was previously traded from the Titans to the Eagles, where he had previously spent his entire career with the Tennessee Titans up to this season, and this was his chance to get revenge on his former team, and he did not let the opportunity pass him by. He caught a bomb from Jalen Hurts early in this game, but that didn't seem like enough revenge to him. He wanted more, and he went out and he got it on this play.
Second down and 3 after the 7-yard gain. Couple pumps. Hurts going deep for A.J. Brown. He has got it. Touchdown, Philadelphia.
That was an absolute mossing from A.J. Brown. What a great catch, what a great throw, and what a great play, and that's why it sits here at number 3 on this list. But then coming in at number 2, we go all the way back to Week 2, where the Eagles were taking on the Minnesota Vikings on a Monday Night Football matchup, and this was the chance for the Eagles to prove to the NFL world that they were a team that was going to be competitive here in the 2022-23 NFL season, but more importantly, it was a chance for Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts to prove that he was the guy for the Eagles going forward. All the questions coming into the season for the Eagles were whether Jalen Hurts would be good enough or not, and in this game he took the opportunity to prove just how good he was. He started the game with a touchdown run, he then threw a bomb to Quez Watkins, and then on one of the final plays of the first half, Jalen Hurts was able to do something that nobody expected.
Hurts keeps around the edge, fighting for the end zone. What a run! Touchdown, Philadelphia. Second of the night for Hurts.
This is so high on the list for me because I think it's really an MVP defining moment for Jalen Hurts. He came out here and showed just how good he could be, and I think it was the start of something special this season for Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think this play just epitomizes who Jalen Hurts is. He plays hard, he works hard, and he's going to give it 100% on every single play, and he fought his way into the end zone on this spectacular touchdown run, and that's why it sits at number 2 on this list. But finally, coming in at number 1, we have a play that occurred in the Philadelphia Eagles Week 8 matchup with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and this was a game that had plenty of highlights. There were many explosive plays in this game. Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown both went off. A.J. Brown caught 3 touchdowns in the first half, but none were better than the final one he had in the first half.
You never get ahead of yourself. As Hurts going down the field, can they do it again? Yes, they can! A.J. Brown!
Hey, after his 3rd touchdown of the first half, he deserved to do that. The fact that this was A.J. Brown's best game of the season, combined with the fact that this was also his 3rd touchdown in solely the first half, and the celebration to me make this probably, at least for me, the best play of the season, the most enjoyable play of the season. It was completely savage, super fun to watch, and that's why it sits at number 1 on my list. I know there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with this list. I also know there's going to be people that disagree with the top plays that I chose for each game, but that's okay because this is just my opinion, and it's really hard to rank all of these plays. If you guys want to give me your ranking down in the comment section below, I'd love to hear it. If you agree with me or disagree with me, just let me know why. But if you want to go watch more Philadelphia Eagles content, you can watch that right here. And if you like videos like this covering the Philadelphia Eagles, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more consistent Philadelphia Eagles content and Sixers content as well. Drop a like on this video to help push it out to other people. And with that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this video, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.